Good evening, soul family. Well, evening where I'm at, but good day to the rest of you. I'm a little unkept looking. Not because I'm unkept emotionally or mentally or spiritually. I am very well kept there. But just felt lazy and just kind of doing this video impromptu because I felt really called to speak further about the family healing that I've kind of been going through. You know, ever since my grandmother passed, first of all, I do want to say that I've got everybody's condolence messages. I've got such sweet, sweet messages and readings and card pulls from everybody on my IG DMs, and I'm so grateful. But I was okay with it. I'm not triggered from a very negative space when it comes to my grandmother's passing because I feel like this was the next phase in her spiritual journey. And she knew that, and I knew that, and we were both okay with it. And it was the idea of letting go of that this life in the 3D was just treacherous to a certain degree, and it just kept us attached to a lot of things that we didn't need to be attached to. Things that, people tell us, religion tells us, culture tells us, our families tell us, things that dictate our actions, our behaviors, and our thoughts. But we really don't need to be attached to these things. And with her passing, she ushered in a lesson about those attachments for me. Because when my grandmother passed, I felt her closer than I have ever felt her when she was here in her physical presence. I think her physical presence just limited her from being there for us, for loving us the way she wanted to, for being present for every single moment of our lives. We had to be around her. We had to be talking to her. We had to be in her physical presence in order to enjoy her and for her to enjoy us. But now she's not limited by those things. She's exactly where she needs to be. And I'm not surprised that the sun starts shining on my face as I say this, because she's watching and she's listening and she's in the outdoors. But this whole lesson of detachment and moving away from these toxic physical attachments, whatever they may be, has really opened up a lot of wounds with my family that needed to be healed. Divine masculine energies related to my father have definitely come up. I haven't shared a very good relationship with my father. It has nothing to do with my sexuality for those who think it is. He just was not available to us. He never was. I don't think he was one who should have been married and had kids, but he did, and life led him down that path. And he's been faced with many, many, many lessons he continues to learn, even in his 60s. And I think for the first time, when I've seen him mourn the loss of his mother, I see a little kid feeling sad that his mother is not around. For some reason, he just stopped being my dad and he just started being a human all over again. And I just saw a kid, like an adolescent boy who lost his way in life, who lost a guiding force, and he's mourning that. And I have a lot of compassion for that. But with that understanding has come a lot of realizations in terms of my own relationship with my father. The other day he made steak and eggs. My father's not one to think of others before himself. He certainly isn't, and he's had to work on that. But there was an extra steak and eggs there, and I was like, Dad, do you want me to put this away in the fridge? He's like, no, I made you lunch. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. I will tap into my divine feminine energy of receptivity and accept this gesture, because it just dawned on me that I've spent so much of my life expecting him to show up in a particular way because people told me fathers had to love their sons and daughters in this way, that parents had to do X, Y, Z for their children. I spent so much time focused on how he should have been coming to the table based on what I believed and what I was told, that I didn't really acknowledge the ways he was actually showing up to the table. And the steak and eggs was just an example. He thought of me. He made me lunch. He was there to nourish me during lunchtime. And then yesterday, he brought me salsa and tortilla chips just out of nowhere. And normally I would have refused. I would have been like, no, I'm not hungry. I would have just gotten into all of that. But then I accepted it. I was like, you know what? He's showing me his love. I will take this. And life, honestly, has been so much easier these past few weeks because I feel like I simplified it. Stop being so damn resistant. Just accept love where it's coming to you. Unblock yourself from all those limiting perspectives and those actions and those beliefs. And just allow love to pour into your life the way it wants to show up for you. I've spent so much of my time blocking love from whoever that I have completely probably passed up multiple opportunities of where it's actually shown up, and I haven't let it in. So I wanted to share that. Lots of masculine healing going on. But I also had this opportunity where I got to visit my elementary school, Jefferson Public School here in Toronto, in Brampton, Ontario specifically. And, I wouldn't have been spending so much time here if we weren't here to care for my father as he transitions to life away from my grandmother. And my grandmother brought us back here. We returned back to our childhood home. I'm here right now. And I took a walk, and suddenly I just felt called to go to my school, and I walked to school just the way I did as an 8-year-old. There was so much unhappiness happening in our home. I was facing at that time a lot of sexual abuse in the household, a lot of mental abuse, a lot of emotional abuse. My parents weren't happy, and I just escaped to school. But at school, I was bullied for being gay. It was difficult. The same place that I wanted as an escape was the same place that was hurting me. Yet when I stood on those grounds, and I looked back, I could see myself running around in that playground. And somehow I still felt whole. Despite, whole as in complete. Despite having faced some difficulties growing up and reflecting back on, the cries that I had when I got beat up for acting like a girl, when I got my jacket taken away from me because somebody felt like I acted like a girl that deemed me inappropriate of a nice Nike jacket. And even though I look back at these memories and it hurt me, I sat there and I sobbed to myself because I still felt so complete. Sorry, my neighbor just came out. I still felt so complete that I had done so much work, that I had continued to heal those wounds. And those wounds, many of which were still active and alive, they were calling for my attention too, and I felt great that I could give them that attention. And I looked back at such a fragmented time in my life, confused, lost, abandoned. Yet here I was, dotting all those I's, crossing all those T's, capping off all those experiences, having healed myself and having committed to the journey of healing as I move forward in my life. And it felt so freaking good. I have never been back to those school grounds since I finished grade 5, actually. So it was eye-opening. It was a relief. And I truly, truly believe my grandmother took me there. She took me there to feel that, because she wanted me to know that, hey, I've got challenges. Things are going to be tough in love, in life, in finance, in family. It's life. I'm stuck in the 3D while she's ascended. And she's telling me that life here on earth will be tough. It will have its challenges, but I am still complete and I am still whole. And she has taught me that. And I am so grateful for my Aji's grandmother. And I'm so grateful for these lessons. And I'm just really grateful that I've been able to bring to myself to a point where I can receive this guidance, when I can see and understand and feel these messages and work towards that commitment of self-healing and self-care. And I wanted to share this message because I think it's important that we all work towards that for ourselves. Understanding that healing is a process, that there is never a stop and a start and then a finish line. There isn't a finish line to reach. By the time we heal certain wounds, some other things may come up. We may have capped off certain wounds, moved on from them, and then 15 years down the road, something comes back up to trigger these wounds. And it's okay. It doesn't mean we're any less of a person. It just means we've got more work to do. And so that's just a little wisdom that I wanted to share, a journey that I'm still walking. I definitely am no guru, but I felt that it was important to show up, speak, and, share my experience. And I hope that a lot of you can join this with me. Thank you.